the most revolting people of 2022. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you know, I utilise a variety of sources for teaching you about narcissism. And I turn to American Thinker, which is a right-wing publication, and therefore you naturally should bear that in mind with some of the observations that it makes. Where, in an article by Rajan Lard, it tells us who the most revolting people of 2022 are. Now, the list isn't in any particular order, so it's important to make that clear. And you'll keep in mind, of course, the relevant observations of this publication vis-à-vis its politics. But it is also demonstrative and interesting with regard to the people that are selected, and, of course, how those individuals are being viewed. The article states, yesterday we looked at the winners of 2022. Now it's time for the sinners of 2022. This list includes attention seekers, pretenders, hypocrites, frauds, and so many more. Well, with descriptions such as those, there's bound to be some narcissists lurking. First up, Democrats. Due to Biden's misgovernance, the US has suffered high inflation, a crime and uncontrolled influx of illegal aliens, and the mass smuggling of illicit drugs. The Democrats then passed a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act, which had nothing to do with inflation, but amounted to a high-spending version of the Green New Deal. When they found time for it, they focused on Ukraine. The Democrats used compromised government agencies to target political opponents. Every rule that was once considered sacrosanct was and is being violated. They are attempting to turn the US into a one-party socialist dictatorship. The Democrats, from Nancy to AOC, may feign empathy, but their sole focus was, and always be power and enrichment. Well, unsurprising that the Democrats are targeted, but of course it does exhibit some aspects of narcissists with those descriptions. Liz Cheney, the soon-to-be former congresswoman, dedicated her final tenure in the House solely to engaging in a personal vendetta against President Trump. She claimed her opposition to Trump was principled, i.e. that she is conservative and only concerned about the fate of the nation. Yet her voting record revealed that she sided with most of the far-left items on the Democrat agenda. So much for that claim. She claims to be a proponent of democracy, yet she was the de facto leader of the Stalinist January the 6th committee, handpicked by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and exclusively populated with only the most angry of Trump haters. The committee didn't even allow Trump's lawyers to question witnesses. She lost in a landslide during her Wyoming primary, disgusting voters across the board in America's reddest state. In her concession speech, she attacked voters who rejected her and compared herself to Lincoln. Will Smith. It's an old rule. You respond to words with words. When Chris Rock made a joke about Smith's wife at the 2022 Oscars, Smith, who disapproved, should have given him a thumbs down and moved on. Instead, Smith rushed up to the stage to strike Rock in the face and continued to hurl expletives at Rock when he returned to his seat. Shamefully, all the Hollywood stars in attendance remained quiet and even tried to comfort Smith. Smith remained at the event when he should have been dragged out by security guards. He won the Best Actor award, and during the acceptance speech, he claimed victimhood and didn't apologise to Rock. He's been banned from the ceremony for a decade, but his Oscar still remains with him. Mitch McConnell. The man is responsible for the GOP Senate underwhelming midterm performance, which cost them a winnable majority. McConnell didn't financially support many MAGA candidates and even withdrew money at key junctures. He badmouthed MAGA candidates prior to the elections, which is the equivalent of calling for their defeat. His primary concern is the well-being of Ukraine and not of the country whose citizens pay his salary. McConnell reportedly told Joe Biden that he wanted to blunt President Trump's influence in the party. Social media giant Twitter. Twitter should have been a forum that reflected public opinion, but Elon Musk's Twitter Files series has revealed collusions between the former Twitter regime and US government agencies to distort and manipulate the public discourse. They suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story prior to the 2020 presidential elections. A poll revealed that 16% of Biden voters said they would have voted differently had they known of Hunter's laptop. The former Twitter regime also suppressed voices that challenged the COVID-19 vaccine. Justin Trudeau. At one point, during the pre-Zelensky and post-Obama eras, Trudeau was the poster boy for liberalism. He spouted inanities, he relentlessly virtue signalled, and he feigned empathy for minorities. But COVID-19 exposed him as a tyrant who not only imposed vaccine mandates, but also used the might of his government to punish truckers from the US and Canada who were protesting against the mandates of an inadequately tested vaccine. Sam Bankman-Fried. In the summer of 2022, SBF was called a prodigy who founded one of the world's principal cryptocurrency exchanges. He was lauded by financial experts. He was also a major Democrat donor, which kept the watchdogs away. He was also celebrated as a philanthropist whose worth was an estimated $16 billion. By early November, the house of cards came tumbling down. SBF was revealed to be a fraud who enriched himself at the cost of his investors. As his arrest loomed, he holed up in the Bahamas. By mid-December, SBF was arrested in the Bahamas and charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. Among other things, he has since been extradited to the United States and released from jail on a $250 million bond. The Securities and Exchanges Commission has also separately charged Bankman-Fried and his buddies, Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang, with defrauding FTX investors. The news media. The claim that the US mainstream media has a Democrat bias is erroneous in that it presupposes that the media and the Democrats are separate entities and the Democrats are somehow influencing the media. The fact is that the news media functions as a propaganda wing of the Democrats and hence must regard as a department within the Democrat Party organization. Their organizations may have different names, but they report to the Democrat Party leadership. 2022 was no different. There was perfect synchronicity between their utterances and narratives. Vladimir Zelensky. DC has committed $111 billion of taxpayers' money to defend Ukraine, supposedly as a democracy, but with no transparency and no accountability about where the money is going. In response, Zelensky has outlawed Ukraine's political opposition. He has seized control of the media by shutting down adversarial news outlets. Zelensky even sanctioned personnel within the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. The excuse for his actions were that they were pro-Kremlin. In doing so, he sounded just like a DC Democrat, which probably explains why he was slobbered over during his Washington visit. During his speech, Zelensky appeared petulant and almost ungrateful to the United States, to the point of implying that the United States was obliged to fund the war. The media is claiming that Zelensky is the modern Winston Churchill, but his proclivity for totalitarianism makes him sound more like a modern Mussolini. So, organisations and individuals that are the most revolting people of 2022, but wait a second, who's this? Oh, look at this. Harry's wife and Harry. This self-serving and attention-seeking duo has infected the public discourse of 2022 with its presence. They are a perfect instance of those who want to eat their cake and have it too. Let them eat cake? No, let us eat cake. In 2020, they relinquished their role and duties in the British royal family. Then they travelled to the US, where they used their titles to enter lucrative deals for documentaries and podcasts and books, when their primary focus was attacking the royal family. They have managed a nauseating combination of victimhood and self-righteousness as they make one apocryphal claim after another. If that wasn't enough, they are hypocrites. They claim to despise fame and royalty, but use their royal titles and fame for personal enrichment. They claim to be climate activists, but always enjoy travel via private jet. Their latest Narcissist display in a Netflix series has sickened even their most ardent supporters. This duo makes the Kardashians look classy. As I said, leaving aside certain political rants, the fact is that, once again, Harry's wife and Harry find themselves on a duo of despised individuals who are seen in this list from American Thinker as being the most revolting people of 2022. Joining their presence, of course, at the top of the most despised people on the Ranker poll that took place recently, and also in another poll which I mentioned in parts passing. If Harry's wife thinks she's popular, well, the evidence tells her that she's not. Not, of course, that that's going to make any issue with regard to her deluded mind, but it does show just the body of distaste for her out there. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.